We are back with Senator-elect Ron Villivalam. He's the Senator-elect for the Illinois' 8th Senate District. Hey, Ron.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How's it going?
Good, good. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. We're so honored to have you on tonight. Can you tell us a little bit about your work with SEIU Healthcare?
Absolutely. So SEIU Healthcare represents about 90,000 healthcare workers, ranging from home care providers that take care of seniors and people with disabilities, child care providers who provide child care for parents who are going to work or going to school to get a better job or are in a job training program, nursing home workers, and hospital workers.
Wow.
All that folks that take care of the elderly, the vulnerable, et cetera.
Wow, that's amazing. So how did this shape your view of healthcare in Illinois?
Well, it's had a huge impact from two different standpoints. One is I think there's a lot that we can do to, number one, get rid of the misconception of healthcare costs and government in terms of government programs. Number two, there's work that we can do to maximize quality care at the least expense possible. And then three, I've learned about the need for a strong workforce. And so just taking those points in order, one, we talk about home care, talk about child care. These are all preventative measures.
Right.
If a parent has child care assistance, they're able to go to work, which means that they're not on even more government programs. If a senior or a person with disability has home care assistance, they're not, forced into a nursing home, which costs on average $35,000 more to the state of Illinois.
Wow.
The one area that we have a lot of work to do is stabilizing the workforce. In the home care industry alone, there's a 62% turnover rate. And every time someone leaves, you have to recruit, hire, and train someone. The industry average is about $7,000 to do that each time per worker. So I think on those three fronts, there's a lot that we can do to provide a high level of quality care, but also make sure we're doing it in a fiscally responsible way.
That's great. What would you do to ensure the long-term viability of the state's Medicaid program?
That's a great question. I think, number one, what I just said about, I think we need to encourage all we can to seek home care from whether they're a low-income senior or a person with disability, as opposed to being in a nursing home. Now, there are some folks that have to be in nursing homes because they need 24/7 care or their family situation calls for it. But if folks can be at home, receive home care, they not only get the independence and they have the moral dignity of living in their home, but it saves the state $35,000 per person. So that's a big savings cost and quality of care.
Yeah. I love hearing these numbers because I feel like it's so general all the time that we are told, oh, it's bad for this or it's good for that, whatever. But hearing the numbers, those are the facts.
Those are the facts, and so home care is less expensive than living in a nursing home. And again, the nursing homes have its role for people that need that 24/7 care or have a different type of situation. But the other piece of it is we need to do a better job as a state of collecting federal dollars or vying for federal dollars. So I recently learned that we are a top 5 state in terms of the federal dollars that we give out. So that we have to pay in federal taxes, for example. And we're at the bottom 5 in receiving those federal dollars back. So, and one example I'll give of that is, so you have the community care program in Illinois, and there's the Medicaid portion, and then there's the non-Medicaid portion. The Medicaid portion is there for people that are extremely low-income seniors. The non-Medicaid is, maybe a step above. But it turns out that there's 10,000 seniors, low-income seniors, that are a part of the non-Medicaid portion that are eligible for Medicaid.
Mm.
And so what does that mean? What's the point of me saying that is, and the point is that if someone is on Medicaid, there is a 50% match from the federal government in the state of Illinois. So we have 10,000 seniors that the state of Illinois is providing home care for as part of the non-Medicaid portion of the community care program. The state of Illinois is picking up 100% of that cost.
Wow.
But if they filled out the right paperwork and they moved over to the Medicaid portion of the community care program, then the state of Illinois would only have to pick up 50% of the cost, and the federal government would pick up the other 50%. So that's something that fortunately was put in this year's budget, and I think it was led by the Alzheimer's Association, an effort by them and SEIU to make it happen.
Wow. So do you think that do you support the continued Medicaid expansion under the Affordable Care Act?
I do. Look, again, this is all, we need to make sure we're not being penny wise and pound foolish.
Yeah.
The statistics and the data clearly shows that people that receive the health care that they need in the beginning, I would say preventative health care, essentially, they go on to not only be less of a burden. I use that word burden gingerly, but they less of a burden on the entire system when it relates to in case they have to come in for emergency room visits or whatever the case may be. And so by having that preventative care, they're able to, in the long run, cost the entire system less. But also, they're able to get that care and take care of themselves and give themselves the opportunity to go out and make a living and not have, necessarily devastating health issues as they go and do that. So I'm a firm believer that we need to continue the Medicaid expansion under the Affordable Health Care Act. I wish we would have had a public option that passed in 2010 as well. But we need to continue to move. Healthcare is changing every single day, so we need to get rid of the gridlock and actually address some of these challenges.
Because health is one of the basic things of life. It's so
absolutely. I mean, again, the statistics don't lie. If people are on home care, it costs the state less money. We can't be at the bottom 5 of getting federal dollars back when we're in the top 5 of paying federal taxes. These are things that we need to look at, and that's something that I'm committed to working on as well.
That's great. Should the state continue on a path toward managed care for Medicaid beneficiaries?
I think so. I mean, I think that managed care organizations definitely have a role, and they have the ability to provide a service and streamline that service and make sure that the healthcare system is working as it should. That being said, the state of Illinois needs to be involved. We can't just absolve all of our, the state's responsibilities and say, well, that's someone else's problem now. We need to make sure that we're being involved, holding everybody accountable, working with everyone to make sure we're getting to the solutions we need. We've had a fiscal. I mean, we talk about healthcare crises. We have had a fiscal crisis in the state of Illinois, and that's resulted in going from $6 billion in backlog of bills to $15 billion, and we're already. And you talk about Medicaid, we're already the last or second to last in rates of reimbursement, and so this is all a strain on the healthcare system. And so we just need to make sure that all the players that are involved, whether you're an MCO, nursing home, hospital.
All right, Ron, we're almost out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. That was Ron Villivalam, Senator-elect for Illinois' 8th Senate District. We're powered by Tandem HR, your solution center. You can call them at 630-928-0510. You can email them at simplify@tandemhr.com. This is a place for small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship.
Vice Press Secretary for